Good morning, everyone. Kevin, the Toy Smuggler here. Welcome, guys. Sorry I haven't been on here last couple of days, but world today, everything's been kind of crazy, and my schedules have been totally turned every which way but loose, and having to restructure everything. But I got a lot of good things coming out this week on action figures and restoration. And one of the first things I want to talk about, last Friday, everybody's work. Either you're working at home or you're not working or you're just extremely slow. Where I'm working at, things are got a little bit slow. So this past Friday, we were done about 12:30. So I left there and headed over to Battlegrounds where I do a lot of my restorations, and plus I help them structure some things and stuff. Well, upstairs we had this corner that's ever since I've been there, it's just been a pile that's kind of a forgotten pile, so to speak. So anyway, I went in there and dug through it and just cleaned it all out. And when I got down to a box on the very bottom of the pile, I come across. I'm gonna show you on my phone what it looked like, how I found it, because the term rough would be not. I'd be might even be a light because I mean he was pretty. He had some issues. So see if I can get this on the camera well here. See, turn it this way. Get the light here. See if this can show up good. And this is from Space 1999, and it's the Commander Keon or whatever. You can see this green stuff all over his face, and I thought it originally was paint when I first glanced at it and stuff. But what it ended up being is old green Play-Doh. So you seen him there, and his clothes were filthy with the green stain. I thought, boy, this is going to be interesting to get off. But anyway, got in there and got to working on it and spend some time on it. And now, as you can see, got him looking completely brand new, no staining whatsoever. I was very shocked. I knew I could get the bulk of it off, but I was actually shocked that he come out so clean. And is able to get all the stains out of his clothes. His shirt I have right here. The only reason I don't have his shirt on him is it's got a small little tear underneath the underarm. Well, what happened was the green Play-Doh soaked all the way through the clothing and like adhered to his skin through the clothing. So when I was trying to remove this, it ended up tearing that right there. So, but I can sew that. I'm going to actually do that probably later, not tomorrow, and everything. But I'm making I don't have a blister that's big enough. He is slightly bigger. I got to show you the Spider-Man that I had on the last video here, and I got a reason why I got him back out today. As you can see, they're slightly bigger. Where this is an 8-inch scale and this is a 9-inch scale. It's hard to find blisters to hold these guys. So I'm actually making an old style vintage box with a relief coming off, and I will show you guys an update on that probably Friday. I should have it done hopefully by Friday. I actually just sent it off, the design of it, to the print shop this morning. Hey, Keith, good morning, brother. Oh, thank you very much. Actually, I was so shocked how well it come out. OxyClean is amazing. You just put it in there and let it soak. And now the next project, I've told you guys about this in the past. We had this guy come in a few months ago at Battlegrounds. We don't see these guys too much. He was in good conditions, clothes was tattered, but he was missing his tail. And Michael found one on the eBay. I got it. All the color had washed out of it, so I re-dyed its tail, re-sewed him on, got him good and clean. And what we have decided to do is this guy, we actually had him in a package. We sold one for on card, and now we had a second one. So I took him off that card, and what I am doing is we are making a 2-pack, and I'm going to have some kind of web design connecting them to where Spider-Man is shooting him with the webs and it's wrapped around him. And I actually still got a reproduction lab coat that he's going to be wearing, and they're going to be on a blister card like this right here. 2-pack of them in here. Like I said, they're fighting each other. And the card, I actually got the card art back yesterday from the print shop. Show you what it's going to look like. I'll show you guys the front of the card. today, and then tonight, if everything goes right, just so Keith, you can kind of let some of your friends know this. Tonight, if everything goes right, by 8 o'clock, I am going to be setting up the table behind me and showing you guys the process on how I make my card backs. So I'm going to try to do that live, set the camera up on the tripod, the whole works. But here is what I'm designing, and the way it's going to work is the two figures are going to be fighting on the side with the black and white comic book strip on the back. And that way you see the rest of the card off to the side. Now, it'd still be hangable in the whole 9 yards. And I think this will look great on display. It's something different, a little unique. Mego didn't put no 2-packs, I don't think, back in the days. And I know they didn't do this. So we thought this would be a great homage to the classic stuff and kind of bring something a little new to the table. So that's where we are at with that. So yes, yeah, like I said, I had some other people mention it. So guys, I got the new camera here. If you can tell, the pixelation is much better. So I should be able to set up the table and give you guys a much clearer demonstration on how I do that. And I'll be letting you guys know what kind of materials I use and where you can have things done. And like I said, it's very simple, and it don't even cost a whole lot of money to get started on this. And it's fun to do. Because like I said, I'm not a on-card collector, but every once in a while, like a certain you got a He-Man. I got like 4 or 5 He-Mans. I'm not going to pay $500 for a carded He-Man. I'm just not going to do that. Now, I mean, when I can spend, 10 bucks or so to design my own card, hang it on the shelf, and that way I got one that I don't ever have to dust again or clean. That's the worst thing about if you don't have the glass cases. You run into the problem, and like Tony, he from Analog Toys, he if you notice why he has a lot of those glass cases, especially for your old Mego figures and like Action Man, they have a lot of cloth goods, and dust just settles on these guys and they start looking pale and ashy. It's bad enough on regular action figures, but when you start dealing with these figures that has clothing on them, it goes south pretty quick. And then you spend at least 2 or 3 times a year just stripping all the stuff off all of them and cleaning them. And I couldn't imagine, Tony said he's done it a few times, I just couldn't imagine the weeks it would probably take, because he's got a decent sized collection. A pretty good size collection. I couldn't imagine the work entail and just the time frame. So just totally crazy. So that's what I got going on. Like I said, I got both of these restoration projects. It should be closing out both of those between today and tomorrow. And I hope to be delivering them either Friday or Saturday up there at Battlegrounds. Like I said, with a lot of this crazy stuff going on today, the world today, a lot of stores are having to close right now. Battlegrounds is still open. So, but the fine line where they're at is it's all about they always, like on a Saturday, Friday nights and Saturday, huge crowds. Even on Sundays, it could be 60 people in the store at one time. So, and I know they're really hitting hard against having more than 10. So he's trying to work away. And then what I talked to him, I said, a great game plan would be if he does have to close the store, I'm actually going to come up there and help him. It'd be a great time to get in there, change some things up, get upstairs, straighten some more things. I said, when we're slow on one end, you got to look at it as an opportunity to gain on something that you've had, fallen behind before. And that's what I'm working on, trying to help him. And in here in the near future, I got some cool updates for you guys. I am currently talking to the Frazetta Museum up in Philadelphia. Wonderful people, Frank Jr. and his wife Lori, who has taken on his legacy and preserving it, and really pushing his art and his designs out to keep it alive out there for you guys. If you don't know who Frank Frazetta is, make sure after this you check this guy out. He is probably the single most greatest fantasy artist ever that's even been on this planet Earth. That's how amazing he influenced me when I was around 9 years old, and he's still influencing me today. Because like I said, when I'm in a rut, I go to my Frazetta folder, and it's got just hundreds of pictures of inks and paintings he did, and studies, how he done his pre-studies before he did his big painting. I'm here to tell you guys, his artwork will blow you away. Like I said, I have prints up here on the wall of his. That way I can just turn, glance, boom, instant inspiration, bottom line. And the reason I'm mentioning this, and the reason I am talking to them, we are actually in talks. I'm trying to help them design a new Deaf Dealer action figure. That's right. We're looking at doing the classic retro style Deaf Dealer. Like, what would Deaf Dealer look like if he was designed as one of these style toys back in the 70s? And we're also looking at maybe like a 4 to 6 inch scale on a horse action figure. So like I said, we're in talks. Frank Jr. is coming up with some cool designs that he's got, and he actually said he's thinks he can really go in and make a whole collection out of that. So extremely interesting. I'm like totally ecstatic about working with these guys. Him and his wife are just amazing people, just sweet. I mean, they're just talking to them. I mean, they're just so easy to talk to, just great, good-hearted people. And like I said, and that's who I love to surround myself with them, because I know I told them, I said, guys, the biggest thing with me here is just to be a part of the group, to be a part of his legacy, to help keep it survived. And that's in any way I can do to help those great people, that great couple up there in Philadelphia, that keep Frank Museum open and full of people. Any way I can help, I am here to do so. So like I said, it is my honor and pleasure to be a part of this project. And like I said, so hopefully guys, in the next few months, just keep your ears tuned in here to this channel, and hopefully we'll have some sketch designs laid out for you, and some concept companies that we're looking at partnering up with on bringing this project to reality. So keep your ears open for that. So I think a Deaf Dealer action figure that's affordable would be amazing. So, because like I said, most of the Deaf Dealer stuff, Lori was telling me, she goes, we've made some amazing statues and it's sold great, but a lot of these great statues that people makes of his property are these big, huge, like sideshow, Hot Toys size things, and not everybody can afford that. And what Lori and Frank wants to do is design more products that more people, the masses, can afford to collect. And because their heart and their projection for the future for Frank Frazetta is to create a line of products that can reach the masses and spread out on the new generation. Because of course your older diehard fans, that's what they would love to do, but the new generation, you know, they want, you know, affordability. They want to be able to smaller pieces to hang up, and or like figures that can fit on a shelf versus your big 2 foot by 2 foot statue. Well, there's only so many of them. You know, your average big, huge sideshow big pieces, you might get 3 on a big dresser, might, depending on which design it is on. If you get 2 of the big ones, you're looking at only 2 fit on a big dresser like that, versus I got 50 plus pieces over here. And that's what they're looking at, is more smaller but still high quality pieces that really showcase off Frank's work. And I think it's a great idea, because you like I said, there's different types of collectors out there and stuff. So we want to make sure we make products that is makes everyone happy. A product for different, because like I said, you got your mint on card collectors, you got your loose collectors, and you got your big huge statue collectors, and some of these people are all of them. But on the masses, I think we're leaning toward people like smaller things and more affordable things, so they can, like Frank wants to design, Frank Jr. wants to design a whole line of action figures that surround the Deaf Dealer figure. And I think that's an amazing concept, and I think it's a very smart way to go, is just build around that core character of Frank's creation. So the best way to do that is to create a smaller figure where you can still have your detail, but yet still it be affordable, where you can expand the universe, so to speak. And like I said, and they got a lot of great stories. Frank's an amazing person. I mean, look who he grew up under. I mean, bam, first hand knowledge of how Frank operated and how he worked, how he approached things. And like I said, and that small little stories I can't wait to hear in the future of this process, to get to hear it straight from his son. So that will be such an honor, and number two, it's going to be such a blessing to hear these little bitty tiny secrets of how his dad approached things and his mind thought and how he attacked it when he got in there to work. Because I hear he done a lot of work. He would wait to the last minute and then this boom overnight and just come out of a miracle the next morning and just be totally. I've been there a few times, and it is. And sometimes as us as artists, it's sometimes we just gotta wait until we feel it, and when we feel it, bam! We don't stop until it's done. See here what you got here, Keith. Yes, yeah, I would do the same thing. If I get some of them, I would like to put it up, and plus have one. I kind of do that on some pieces myself. I got a couple of Star Wars stuff that I still got packaged, but I'm mostly a 98% loose collector. Because being an artist and a toy maker, I like holding things in my hands and trying to understand how did they design this back in those days, what materials, and you can't do that by just looking for a package. You got to hold it, and it's a whole different ball game. You learn so much more about how these companies used to design things back in the 70s and 80s by touching and taking things. That's why sometimes I love to find broken toys, because I have to get in there and take things apart to fix it. Man, it really bumps up your knowledge on toys and stuff like that, and just boosts your knowledge up. And I mean, I'm sure Dave at Toy Ploy feels the same way. The more and more you fix things, the more you start understanding the design process and how they approach things. And like I said, I know I've watched Dave many a times. How sometimes little levers and stuff was some of the most poorest design, and that's why, like, on certain pieces, that's one part of that figure or spaceship or whatever is always broken. It's like almost every piece has one little part of it is notorious for breaking every time. So that's what some things you learn, and that way that helps you as an artist and a designer. That's how the restoration kind of benefits, because you can learn similar problems that you're fixing all the time on certain things. Later on, and if you're designing something that is very similar, you know what mistakes not to make because you've done fixed it 100 times over here. So that's something that I think has helped me learning when you're coming in to approach a new project and stuff like that. So, but guys, that's what we got. To give you another quick update too, touch base again, like I said, tonight, probably around 8 o'clock, I'm showing you how I do cardbacks, and if everything goes well, I will probably figure out the date and time. It'll be Friday night. It'll either be 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. I am going to be sitting here talking about. I had a couple, 2 or 3 different people from the group here wanting to talk about my wrestling career. So I'm making some notes, trying to get all the timelines straight in my head. Like I said, I was 21 years as a professional wrestler. I've been retired now a little over 4 years, or it's either almost 5 years or almost 4 years. I think it's pushing 5 years, I think is what it is. So I've been retired for a little while now. I retired right before I started doing my movie series and stuff, right about the same. I think it was on movie 3 when I finally retired. So, and just done the switch over and had to spend a lot of time making the movies and stuff. That was very strenuous on me. It took a lot of design effort, and this physically it about broke me. Do 4 movies back to back, it'll break you. I'm here to tell you that. So this coming Friday, we're going to be doing that, and probably not this Saturday, but the following Saturday of next month. Let me look at the calendar here to give you guys a more accurate date here. We're looking at probably Saturday afternoon around on the 4th. That'd be April the 4th. Probably around 2 o'clock. It's called Meet the Family. I'm going to have my wife on here, my little girl, a couple people from the Paranormal Chaser movies. Like I said, some are actual family, and others where they have been adopted into the family. And that way you guys get to ask them questions, and I'm sure they're going to share with you guys some horrible stories that I have put them through on the filmmaking. See, Keith said, what was my last match? Oh my gosh. You'd think that would be right on top of my head. But if I'm not mistaken, the last match I had, we had a big, huge fundraiser show at a 4th of July show. It was for veterans, if I'm not mistaken. We done a big veteran show, and a massive crowd showed up. I mean, it was loads of fun. Good and hot that day. Hot. It is one of them hot sunny days where it just wasn't just hot and sunny, but it rained all morning. So by the time it quit, like at 4 o'clock, we put the show on at 7 o'clock that night. Steam bath. So you was like cooking, like a pressure cooker you wrestled in. So it's very, very muggy. So it's like 100 degrees with the humidity knocking on 100%. Man, it was you was sweating before you even got to the ring. But it was a local wrestler guy. Wrestled him. He had been wrestling for a few years. So I like wrestling older wrestlers, but sometimes I like wrestling the new guys. Get in there and because I remember when I was a younger wrestler, the biggest thing I was in tried to wrestle the most wrestlers that had been in it the longest. Because when you're wrestling a guy that's been in it like as long as you have versus wrestling a veteran, it's a whole different ball game. It's just like later, you hear me guys, I talk about how I hang around other artists. The reason I hang around artists who are better than me, because if you want to get better at something, you got to hang around people that are better than you. You can't be the big fish in the little pond. You can't grow. It's cool. It might be fun. You get all the attention. But the problem with that is you won't grow. Where you're at is where you'll be. So I learned at a very young age that no matter if it's wrestling or artwork, real quick, if you want to be better, you got to hang around people better than you. You got to suck it up, deal with it, realize that's the only way that you can grow. And then, like I said, it has worked no matter what aspect in life that I've gotten in myself into. Find people that you can look up to and aspire to be. That's how you grow. And then you just take all the lessons, the do's and don'ts, the what worked and what failed, and take that and apply it to you, and then make that your own. And that's how we all great people, that's how they develop, and that's what you got to do. See, Robert Sergeant Slaughter lives down the road from me. Awesome. I've met Sergeant Slaughter many times. Great guy and everything. I remember watching him back in the old AWA and in WWF, but I remember mostly him in the AWA and stuff like that, and some NWA if I'm not mistaken. But the AWA, he was his most promised when I was watching him, probably around 1982, 83, something like that. But super nice guy and everything. Like I said, he was a mainstay. And like I said, and then when he crossed over into the G.I. Joe realm, which was was it 85 guys, something like that, when that 85, 86, when the Sergeant Slaughter figure came out. And that just made it even bigger when here I am, I'm watching him for years on wrestling, and then now he crosses over I'm a G.I. Joe fan, so I just made it that much better. And like I said, I wish they would have done that more back in those days. But like I said, I think there was, unfortunately, back in most toy company days, the guy who had the greatest ideas, they get a cool pieces out of him, then they chuck him to the side and hire somebody cheaper. And that's why almost every toy line failed really quick back in those days. So, but guys, we're knocking on 6 o'clock here, so I got to roll. I got to get ready to go to work and stuff and everything. So thank you this morning, Keith, for joining me this morning. If you can, like I said, tonight about 8 o'clock, I'm going to be showing you guys how to do the card backs. And if you can, please tell some other people, spread the word about what the Toy Smuggler's doing here, trying to push up to that 1,000 subscriber mark. And guys, like I said, we got a lot of great things coming in future. Like I said, I'm working with the Frazettas on creating and designing a new Death Dealer action figure. That is amazing. Totally amazing. So just spread the word what the Toy Smuggler's doing. Thank you so much for joining me this morning, Keith. Guys, you have a great day. Toy Smuggler. Catch you later.